There's a lot of things that I talk about on the air, but it's these stories that tend to light my fire the most, and there's a reason for that. There are several reasons. When I was 5 years of age, I remember my mother going to volunteer at a strange little storefront place on the south side of Fort Worth, Texas that I had never heard of before, doing something that at that time in the early 1970s was radically unheard of. It was a crisis pregnancy center. And what they provided was semi-used clothing and some food helps and baby supplies to women that were, as I was being explained to it in my very early ages, making the choice to let their babies live instead of not allowing that. As the years went by, that real passion continued to grow. And in my broadcast career in the early days, I was in the city of Chicago. When I first heard of a story that happened within the last couple of years, there was a girl by the name of Nicole who, at age 14, found herself pregnant. And she found herself pregnant at the dismay of her parents, who were Bible-believing Christians and had taken her to church all of her life and had said that abstinence until marriage is God's way, and that's what we want you to do. But Nicole, like many young women, had many pressures on her that came from both within her family and outside of her family, and not wanting to lose the love of the boy that she was seeing at the time, made the mistake, got pregnant, and suddenly her life was turned upside down. It was a local pregnancy resource center that she went to with her mother after doing the difficult deed of explaining to her parents that she had made this mistake. It was a pregnancy resource center that offered her a free sonogram. And in the offering of that sonogram, she saw for the first time that that thing that was within her was not tissue. It was not a random sample of cells and blood vessels and so forth. But it was actually a little boy. A little boy that she decided on that afternoon to name Bradley. As the next couple of weeks went on, her boyfriend's family became more indignant. They were not church-going people, and not wanting to disappoint them, she really came to this crossroads of, I don't know what to do. My boyfriend wants me to get an abortion. My parents said they will help me. Eventually, her boyfriend's parents pulled a very dirty deed. They basically kidnapped her from the local school. They posed as her grandparents on the phone, said we need to take Nicole out of class for the day, and they took her to a place called the Hope Abortion Clinic in Southern Illinois. Now, this abortuary services the largest number of abortions per year of any abortion clinic in the country. And her father came home that morning from his overnight job to see her not getting ready for school, called her mother and was very concerned. Her mother kind of instinctively knew probably what had happened. So she grabbed a friend and they went to the Hope Abortion Clinic, and she faked as though she was having problems and needed in, and the guards let her in. And she told her friend, you stay out here and handle security. I'm going to go find Nicole. She wandered the hallways of this abortion mill, calling out Nicole's name, being harassed and hassled by the clinic's personnel at the time. Nicole heard her mother calling her from the other room, and she asked the nurse that was in her station, she said, please, that's my mom, go get her. The nurse returned a couple of minutes later, only to report the news that her mother had left the premises, and there was no other explanation for it. Long story short, the police did come. Nicole's mom was handcuffed, put in the back of the squad car, and when she said, my minor daughter is in there against the wishes of me, her parent, the police officer said, you need to talk to your senator about this. At the very end of the day, her boyfriend's family left out the back door of the abortion clinic to go on a four-week vacation to Florida and was completely out of reach of authorities. Nicole was discarded, literally, from the clinic a couple of hours later, having had an abortion. She had tender breasts, a lot of bleeding. There was a lot of problems that came about from the procedure that she had. One of the most important things, and one of the things that makes me most passionate about pregnancy resource centers like Lighthouse, is the fact that even in that stage, at that time, on that day, it was a local pregnancy resource center that gave her post-abortion counseling, that she is still in contact with today, and that in fact is helping her turn her life back around. Friends, there are a lot of social ills that have gone wrong in our country. But tonight we celebrate something that's doing it right. Tonight we celebrate the success of putting lives back together and sometimes salvaging lives from ultimate destruction. I'm glad to be here in support of Lighthouse Pregnancy Resource Center, and I hope that as you enjoy the evening and are challenged by what you hear, that you'll consider, before this night's over, demonstrating your support in a tangible and financial way.